someone at another location that has a 90% failure rate.
It was printer ink, it was batteries that weren't working. You know, I don't know if this is all accidental, if this is intentional. I mean, get your act together. This is the big day. This is the Super Bowl.
Yes.
You show up and you're ready to go.
So
you're not like, oh, I forgot my helmet at home. Oh.
Right now, this is not the only location. I just spoke to someone at another location that has a 90% failure rate.
What do you suggest?
I can't tell you guys what to do. All I can do is tell you this. That's all I can say. So the failure rate is huge. Here it's around 25%. The guys that are here fixing the printers and the Dominion machines said that they're on again, off again, and they'll be back later to fix it.
How do we know if it failed? How do we know if it failed for sure?
So here's how you know if it failed. You put your ballot in, it'll kick it out. It'll tell you to make a correction. If you put it in, it'll kick it out. At the third time, it'll ask you to spoil your ballot. You want to spoil your ballot. Don't go to adjudication, because if it goes to adjudication, it goes to a shady room and someone else does your vote. I don't care what they say, that's the truth. The truth is someone else will be voting for you. If you're okay with that, then let
two tabulators. One of the tabulators is not working, okay? The other tabulator is taking about 75% successful. So 25% of them are being misread, and it could be a printer issue, or it could be the tabulator itself. So when it's misread, you have an option to put it into what's called box 3, and it gets read, whether it goes downtown and gets read manually, or whether it gets refed into our tabulator.
Put it in there.
Yeah.
And tonight, a Republican and a Democrat will sit and go through all of the misread ballots all over the county and count them. And it will get counted.
Okay. And
Okay.
both machines are not working. Yeah.
No, nothing's working for the last half hour.
Thank you.
Are not working properly. So it's misreading ballots. But we have a compartment for all misread ballots, and they will be taken to the county to be read.
So these are your two ballots that were rejected?
Yes.
Unbelievable. So now they're telling you have to go to another location.
Yes, so it'll be the third ballot. And I'm hopefully that they will take it, because these are voided. So now I have to do it again.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm at the North Scottsdale United Methodist Church on Tuesday, November the 8th, election day, and it's 10:33. I tried to vote, and neither machine in there, neither ballot machine will accept ballots. There's numerous people in line, and every time it's either rejected or misread. And they said there's a drop box we can put it in. They said it will be counted.
So we will be running them electronically as well as hand counting. Okay. So I encourage you to take our opportunity here to vote.
Don't leave your line. Stay where you are. They say that the machines aren't working. They say that they're running out of paper in different locations throughout different states. There's a lot of bad things going on. Stay online. Do not leave. I know you don't want to be there as long as they're going to try and force you. They want to delay you out of voting, and you cannot let them delay you out of voting. So to the people of Arizona in particular, because that's the one that's come up right now, stay online. Don't leave. Already a lot of people have left, and it's very, very unfair what's going on. Maricopa County, don't leave. Stay there.
Here's the thing that's really bizarre. So all across the country, Democrat candidates, not candidates themselves, but the party, was putting money in primaries into the races of the extreme Trump-endorsed candidates, as opposed to the moderate Republicans that were running. Because
R.C. Maxwell, Project Veritas Action. I just wanted to ask you a brief question about the statements that you've made.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk politics to anyone who I don't know.
Multiple Project Veritas journalists investigated the Katie Hobbs campaign for governor in Arizona.
I would love nothing more than the opportunity to have a substantive conversation about the issues, and Kari Lake has shown that she's capable of doing that. So we are providing opportunity for folks to learn here around the state, and we're going to keep doing it.
We have a lot of concerns about Katie's candidate. She's not debating Kari Lake, which is...
Why not?
We don't know. They basically said only Democrats care about debates, and it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, but she is a Democrat.
She was saying, they were saying only Democratic voters care, so they're not going to lose any votes, because Democrats are going to vote for anyway, which maybe is true, but it's as a politician, you never want to say, oh, I'm taking these votes for granted.
I think it's as simple as that. They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms.
Oh my God.
How's it going? Didn't mean to scare you there. R.C. Maxwell with Project Veritas Action. Just wanted to ask you a brief question about the statements that you've made. Oh, you spilled your soda. Are you going to clean that up or just leave that here for the business? I just wanted to ask you about the comments you made on undercover.
Not only is Katie Hobbs refusing to do a single debate.
Why no debates this go around? You don't want to debate?
Katie Hobbs needs to debate her. But she won't spill any details on her radical, left-wing agenda.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk politics with anyone who I don't know.
In fact, the only thing she'll spill is her drink while running away from questions. While Kari Lake is running for the people of Arizona, Katie Hobbs is hiding from them.
Secretary Hobbs is currently hiding in a bathroom.
Don't the voters of Arizona deserve to see that?
Is it your responsibility as a candidate who wants to run Arizona?
Batch until the adjudication's done. They have to do that, and we want them to do that because, as we learned in the audit process, when they didn't do that in 2020, we could not reconcile what was adjudicated and what was not. It's a good thing that they're doing it. It's a bad thing that they continue to refuse to work through the night to give the people the results of this election.
Okay, so really quick, we only have a minute remaining, then we're going to welcome back our radio audience. Gina, adjudication, people are worried. How many ballots are currently in adjudication, and what does that mean?
So they're not giving us the number, and we've asked the legal team to get a number from them today. Adjudication is when some team of a Republican and a Democrat are going to look at your ballot and try to determine what you meant to do when you cast that vote. The less ballots that go to adjudication, the better it is for us. The reports I'm getting is that a lot of them are a result of the judge races in Maricopa County. We had a large judicial retention, but there's room for mischief when things go into adjudication. So we're working on that number. We're going to get that for you sometime today.
So really quick, Gina, yes or no, does 4 out of 4 include voting in the primary?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you're trying to tell me 350,000 people that voted in the August primary haven't had their vote tabulated yet?
Yes.
Oh, this thing's about to get real interesting. Stay right there, Gina. Hold on. We have to take a break and welcome back radio. Please don't go anywhere, Gina. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com.
Joining me now is Harmeet Dillon, civil rights attorney and chairwoman of the Republican National Lawyers Association. Harmeet, we just learned that there's going to be another dump of votes from Maricopa County this hour. What are you hearing?
Well, the latest I heard is that I'm just reading from my notes. It's 78,000 ballots that were just posted in Maricopa. Again, they're not really clear about what batch they come from, but we know that they don't include the 17,000 door 3 votes, and they do increase Katie Hobbs' lead. What this does not include is what you mentioned there, the 290,000 ballots that were dropped off, record-breaking number of ballots dropped off in person on Election Day, the early ballots. Now, that wasn't enthusiasm for Katie Hobbs. Those were Kari Lake voters. And so we're really looking forward to them finally telling the whole story in Maricopa County. They still have over 325,000 or so to go, and the numbers are only going to get better from there. And so even if they had dropped those 17,000 alone, that would have destroyed the lead that the Maricopa County is artificially propagating out there. So we do feel pretty good about the top of the ticket in Arizona.
So, again, this is the gubernatorial race, and even though Katie Hobbs is now up, I think, 1.34% with what we know right at this moment, you're saying that ballots that were brought to the polling centers on Election Day, I guess they were mail-in ballots that were actually physically dropped off by voters, those you have reason to believe are going to skew pretty favorably to Lake, correct?
Very favorably. So, and the 17,000 that were not able to be tabulated of the voters who voted in person, again, huge Kari Lake advantage over there. Those have not been released as yet either. And I think that what's happening here is some petty little game playing by some Arizona County officials. But eventually they have to release all the ballots. And when that happens, we are really very comfortable that our projections are going to hold. So no worries here.
Yeah, Kari Lake was on with Sean in the last hour. She actually made a promise. Watch.
But I will tell you this. When we win, On day one, we are going to call a special session, get our lawmakers busy, and say, let's solve this election situation so we never have another election where the voters of Arizona are forced to wait and wait and wait to find out who won. We're forcing them to wait, and the people in this country. We want to know where the balance of power lies.
Harmeet, do you agree? Is this unfair to the American people, the way this thing drags out?
Well, of course it is. We've seen it time and again, Laura, and it all lays in the hands of the legislature of a respective state and having a governor who agrees. So, for example, in Pennsylvania, the legislature, which is more Republican, tried to pass election reforms to avoid the disgraceful situation you see in Pennsylvania election cycle after election cycle. The Democrat governor vetoed it. In Florida, you have really great election laws. They include the right to absentee ballots with no excuse, but you have to request it in each instance. And they very transparently continue to post on a rolling basis every day when they get the ballots. So we all know exactly how many ballots to expect. In Arizona, by contrast, you don't have that. We don't know how many ballots there are. It's chaos. They're bumping into each other. And as like you said earlier in your open, Laura, they're like as if they weren't expecting an election. Like you knew there was going to be an election. You're the most populous county. You were not prepared.
Yeah.
Laura, one thing that people don't know is that these election officials, they have a lot of latitude as to what they do with the funds. And so a lot of these guys are seeing themselves as like, mini Nancy Pelosi's trying to boost registration and like do all this PR. Their job is to maintain clean voter rolls, and when there's an election, to promptly count and announce the results. That's their job. They have one job. They're not doing that job. This is disgraceful. And I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat, it's disgraceful regardless because it undermines confidence in our elections. Nevada, people are holding on to their ballots for 3 weeks before the election, and they can continue to receive them in Nevada until tomorrow. Like they have 4 days after the election to continue to receive them. That's where the hanky-panky occurs and or the lack of confidence by voters in the outcome. And so, Laura, one more thing I want to tell you. You mentioned that Mark Elias wins a lot. He actually loses more than he wins. My law firm defeated him very soundly in Virginia a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
fantastic.
So he loses a lot. So
does that mean you're our
He's got
Mark
good PR.
Elias? Harmeet, does that mean you're our Mark Elias?
I wouldn't say that. God forbid that anybody ever compares me to him.
In a good way.
I don't file as many losing lawsuits as he does. So.
I got it. Thank you, Harmeet. You're the one person I really enjoy correcting.
Welcome back, everybody. So, Gina, what you're telling me is that you've discovered that 351,000 people that are 4 out of 4 voters that include voted in the primary in August, which means they're very high propensity Republicans, have not even had their vote tabulated yet. How did you find that number?
So Maricopa County gave us a readout this morning via our legal observers that the 292,000 election day drop-offs have completed signature verification but have not yet begun to go to adjudication. So that's group one. Then you have the 12,000 of the 17,000 that were indoor 3 that have started to be tabulated today. So that gets you to 300,000. Then the next group of ballots that we have where there's a discrepancy as to whether or not they've completed tabulated is the 30 to 40 some odd thousand that were cast under what we call an emergency provision. Those were the de facto extension of early. These people voted on Saturday or Monday. So the part of the issue is that Maricopa County is doing a lot of communicating, but they're not communicating clearly about where these ballots are in these buckets of the process. So we have 2 observers in there that are both lawyers in one part of the facility, and they're getting different answers when they're asking this question, which would lead one to believe that it's possible that this whole 50,000 batch hasn't even begun, and that's going to take us up to about 345.
Yeah. So, but how do you know they're 4 out of 4 voters? Just through voter data, basically. Are you able to see publicly whether or not their vote has been counted? Is that right?
Well, yeah. It's the estimate of the people that we think that were in there on that day. It's the result of the EV33 report that's issued by Maricopa County that tells us who are the people that we have a record that their ballot came back. Right. So you look at the party breakdown of the record of the people whose ballot came back, and that should give you an idea if they're 3x4s or 4x4s. So generally, these are the high propensity voters. These are the people that went in, by and large, of the 292,000. These are the people that went in on election day or dropped in on election day because they wanted to make absolutely sure that their vote counted. And in fact, the reason that number is so high is because people went to vote in person. It was a complete and total shit show, if I may. And as a result of that, they went back to their car. Sorry.
No, we just get fined when we We got it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, we're live on radio, so the government would love to find
Forgive
us.
me. I
It's
don't want you
okay.
to get in trouble.
It's okay. Keep going.
All right, so they went back to their car. They got the mail ballot out of the car, and then they dropped it because they needed to make absolutely sure that their ballot counted, and they were deprived of the right to vote in person because of the total and epic failure of the Maricopa County administration.
Tyler.
Gina, there's a rumor going around that box 3 may not just be 17,000 votes in Maricopa County. Are you seeing or hearing any updated information on if there's more than 17,000 that are being tabulated?
Yes. So the elections director in Maricopa County confirmed last night that there were more than 2 vote centers that had an issue where at the end of the night, part of the poll worker breakdown process is they pull all the ballots out of the tabulator bins and they bag them. And when they pulled them out, they pulled out the separator that keeps the tabulated ballots on one side and the door 3 ballots on the other side. So if those got commingled together, and it's our understanding that they got commingled together in more than 2 vote center locations, that would mean that we have ballots that didn't get counted when they said how many went into door 3 and later began the process of sending them to tabulation. So yes, I believe there are potentially a lot more, but there are more than 17,000.
Gina, what two polling centers were those? What 2 vote centers were those? Do you know the locations?
They haven't given it to us yet, no, and there are more than 2.
Do you think those were in good areas for us or bad areas for us?
I do not know, but either way, the election day voters were ours, even in areas that might not have been generally leaning our way. There were a large proportion of people that have had enough of Biden administration policies that were pulling the ticket for our party.
So the Maricopa County, I want to reiterate this, the Maricopa County Elections Director, Scott Jarrett, confirmed to you that multiple vote centers had a massive amount of ballots that were collected and mixed in together that have yet to be tabulated, and we don't know what that outstanding number looks like yet.
It's correct that he reported it to one of our people that are on site yesterday. He didn't report it directly to me. And yes, that statement is accurate.
So it looks like that there could be a significant addition. Do you know what the average amount of vote center ballots were cast? I mean, could you just give us a roundabout idea of how many votes were cast or dropped off at each individual vote center?
That's rough without knowing where they are, because there were some vote centers that had 1,700 voters. So that's a disparate number. But safe to say that we have more than 17,000 votes that should be counted in door 3, of which they've still only managed to get through 4,600 of the original 17,000. And they're talking about engaging in a process where they do some kind of internal attempt at reconciliation so that they can look at the data cards. The reads they're getting on the data cards in those locations aren't matching the number of ballots they have because these ballots got mixed together. So to my mind, the easiest way to ensure that every ballot got counted is just to retabulate every ballot that came in to that vote center.
Yeah, how would we know if they're just in bags?
Well, they're bagged and tagged and labeled by the vote center that they came in. So there's supposed to be a sheet in there that tells you what location that they're from. So
we can tell
Yeah.
the difference between check-ins and votes that are yet to be tabulated for that vote center, correct? They already did a hand count verification of certain vote centers. Was the hand count verification done in one of these vote centers?
We don't know, because we don't know which vote centers they are, because they haven't told us.
What a mess.
We have our observer. Yeah, we have our observer reports. We had observers in the field that told us for at least 2 where they are. So we're pulling that data now. But where the other ones are, I don't know. We've reached out to all of the observer coordinators to make sure that throughout all of Maricopa County, all our data is on one sheet. And we should know within the next couple of hours, after looking at all our data, where we think they are. And then we're reaching out to get them to try to tell us what their plan is not clear to us, and they're not being transparent, as you know, in any way.
What percentage of ballots left in Pima County are late earlies versus election day drop-offs?
So it looks like, according to what Gabby said this morning, that she was conflating. It was not that there are 103,000 late early drop-offs. It's really about 50,000 late early drop-offs, and then 44 or 45,000 that came in for that Friday, Saturday, Monday. So it's about 50,000 late earlies.
So 50,000 drops, is that right?
Correct.
So those should favor us probably 55 to 57%, maybe
Correct.
even more, right?
Yeah, correct. 55 to 47, 55 to 58. We looked at that in the last drop, and we won those.
Got it. So, and then those late earlies in Pima shouldn't be as bad as some of the prior earlies. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
So
those are not our majority voters.
Yeah, so if you blend that all together, there's a chance that Kari or Blake get 51, 52% of the remaining votes in Pima County. Is that right?
Yep. Yes.
Which is great. That means that Katie Hobbs has she really has no counties.
Path.
She has no path if that's the case.
Yep.
No matter what, period.
Exactly.
Yeah, signed, sealed, and delivered.